What is up, everybody? It's your boy Doody back again with another video, and this time I'm taking a look at our boy DSP's podcast, where he specifically talks about June the King's new documentary focusing around Machinima and how Phil is going to be doing a long-form react content to June the King's documentary, where he plans to trash Machinima because of course they mistreated him. But the interesting thing here is now Phil is talking about providing receipts, aka emails, regarding correspondence that he had with that he had with Machinima. And when I heard that, it perked my ears, because like I continuously say, Phil is a scumbag and you can't trust him. You can't do business with him. You can't interact with them. So this is going to serve as a PSA for anyone who is considering doing business with Phil, tipping Phil, or doing anything with Phil. And I'll get into that in a minute. Let's just play this quick video and we'll talk about
marathon event on July 2nd. It's going to cover a ton of topics, a ton of different things. It's going to be very fun and a party-like atmosphere for the beginning of the summer. I hope you guys will join me live if you can, and if not, of course, it'll be available on demand, split up between here and DSP Reacts. We'll have different various segments that'll be pretty interesting, okay? Good stuff. All right, so that's coming up. Then also, in July, my next long-form special react event has been solidified. June the King has released a documentary on Machinima. I am stoked. This is exactly what I was looking for. I had told you guys I was looking for someone to cover Machinima in a big capacity because I was a part of their partner network for over 6 years. I was one of the holdout YouTubers who stayed with them the longest through their highs and lows. And I have so much to talk about. Let me give you some perspective here.
Okay, let me just stop it right there. So Phil talks about how horrible Machinima was, but yet he didn't have enough foresight. He didn't have enough capacity to say himself, let me get out of here. So let me provide a little bit of context here, Phil. So Machinima used to sign YouTubers essentially to kind of this contract where it was in perpetuity. You had to be with them until they decided to let you go or fire you, essentially, right? But then, you know, it came out that those are illegal. You can't have those. So many YouTubers decided to fight Machinima and request that they get taken out of their contracts. If not, they'll take them to court. And many of them did. For example, PewDiePie and a few other folks. Phil was the only denhead who decided not to do that. Although he claims Machinima was so terrible, he yet stayed with them the longest. What does that say specifically about Phil? What does it say about Phil? If it says that Phil is not a bright person to just sit with there. And I guess what ended up happening was he was making enough money that he was perfectly fine just putting up with the crap that Machinima was doing, as long as he had enough money, you know, for WWE Champions and Gen or whatever the hell he was wasting his money on. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out. Let's get into the rest of the video.
Just this morning, I opened up my email and I just on a whim, I typed Machinima. Hundreds of emails popped up from over the years, my dealings with Machinima and the stuff that I used to be involved in, the way that they used to react to stuff, basically all the supplemental information from being a Machinima partner for as long as I was. And it's all at my fingertips because I saved it all. So when we're watching this documentary, not only am I going to be able to react from personal perspective, but I might have receipts on shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be pretty interesting. The company's out of business. There is no privacy concerns because the company can't say anything. They don't exist. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Phil. So what you're saying here, Phil, is that because the company no longer exists, right? Machinima as an entity no longer exists. You can crap on them. You can expose specific things about their business dealings or whatever happened. Email, personal emails, correspondence between yourself and the company or a rep, right? So just because the company no longer, or the entity no longer exists, doesn't give you the right to go ahead and start exposing secret emails, because you have to remember those emails didn't come from just some phantom Machinima, bot. It came from an actual person that worked there. So you're going to be a scumbag and you're going to expose this company for whatever reason. We know your word for exposure is a lot different than an actual real exposure. I'm pretty sure someone told you no and you took offense to it, and decided that they mistreated you, so you must, you know, lie and expose them. That's probably the receipt you're talking about. But Machinima is owned by someone. Machinima was bought out. So just because it was closed down, that division or department, doesn't mean whatever assets that there still may be, or whatever residuals or legal contracts or whatever have you, it doesn't mean that that's all gone. It probably resides somewhere. It probably resides in the parent company that bought them. I believe it was Warner Brothers that may have bought Machinima at the time or whatever. So whatever's left of that, or whatever legal ramifications or any of that may have happened during Machinima, Warner Brothers, the company that bought Machinima, is still probably liable or responsible. So you slandering Machinima because you think they're out of business, you think you have some legal right to do that? No, Phil, that's being a scumbag. And even if you have the legal right, you wouldn't get legally in trouble. It's still a very scummy thing to do. Those people aren't around to defend themselves. Those people aren't around to say, well, what's not to say that you lie about the email? What's not to say that someone sent you an email and just said, yeah, that's perfectly fine, and then you exaggerate and add more content to it? Because I'm pretty sure you're not going to show that email. You're just going to read off like you always do. All of these emails that you always do, you always read them off. You never actually show the email itself. Secondly, Phil, that's not how you do business. You had a business relationship with them. It went sour. They let you go. You feel better. So now you think this is the opportunity to trash them and to talk shit about them and to expose them, as you like to say, with receipts. No, Phil, that's not how you do business. What ends up happening is that you're looking at the short-term game here. You're looking, oh, I can get a laugh. I can expose Machinima. I can make fun of them. I can make them look bad. No, Phil, it makes you look bad, because any other potential company that may, for some odd reason, decides they want to do business with you, and they see that, they're going to say, no, why would we do business with this person if he's going to go and start exposing emails, start talking shit, start talking trash? Why would anyone do business with you? I said the same exact thing when Twitch let you go. Remember when Twitch let you go, when they departnered you? And you decided, oh well, now that I'm not partnered with Twitch, it doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about bits. And remember what you said? You were specifically told not to talk about bits. If when you're in the partner program, you're not supposed to talk about bits. And you got in trouble for talking about bits. They slapped your hand, and you no longer did it. As soon as you were out of that contract with Twitch, what did you do? You exposed and talked about bits nonstop. Because they mistreated you. You were angry with them, so you decided to expose things, right, Phil? Right? Not thinking in the long term, thinking maybe if I didn't do that, maybe in 6 months or 5 months or 3 months or in a year, I can get repartnered with that company. Why would that company want to deal with you after you ranted and raved and exposed information that they specifically told you not to talk about it when you were a partner? And you're going to do the same thing here with Machinima. And you think it's perfectly fine because Machinima doesn't exist. It may not exist as an entity, but it's still owned by a parent company. Warner Brothers, I believe, still owns the rights to whatever is out there for Machinima. So I hope what ends up happening is that this gets around, and your reputation is trash anyway. But what I'm more concerned about is that any business right now existing that may consider doing business with you, I hope they see that video and decide, no, we're not going to touch this guy because he's a scumbag. The other thing too that I wanted to point out is for all of you Dents that contribute to Phil and talk to Phil, right? Whenever you get on his bad side, he has your information. He has your name. He has your email. He knows who you are. You've tipped him. Even if you interact with him, he has information on you, right? What's not to say that one day you piss Phil off or mistreat Phil and he doesn't decide to expose your information? What's not to say that that doesn't happen? Remember Snorlax King a couple months back when he did some chargebacks and how Phil tried to expose Snorlax King? Remember where he threatened him? He threatened legal action against him. And if it wasn't for the community backing Snorlax King, Phil would have gone ahead and continued to trash him. But he knew that as soon as he starts talking trash about the chargebacks, that we were going to report him to PayPal. But if we weren't around, he would have just went on and did did several videos, podcasts where he just trashes Snorlax King, calling him a scumbag and exposing his information. And I'm pretty sure he exposed his information in his forums or his podcast, or he let one of his minions know to kind of spread that gossip around. So just be aware, the next time anyone considers doing business with Phil, this is how he treats people, where when he feels that you've mistreated him or you did him wrong, this is the type of shit that he'll do to you. So the next time you consider doing business with Phil or tipping Phil, just remember that. Have that in the back of your mind, that this scumbag will reveal your personal details whenever the hell he feels like it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.